I found out my roommate was living a completely secret life. I never thought someone I lived with every day could have a life so hidden that it felt like I had been sharing an apartment with a stranger. But last month, I discovered exactly how little I actually knew about the person I called my roommate. And it started innocently enough with small inconsistencies. Doors closed a little too tightly, vague stories about where they'd been, sudden late-night outings that didn't make sense. But I shrugged them off because everyone deserves privacy, right? Then one day, I came home early from work because I had left my wallet in the apartment, and I noticed their bedroom door slightly ajar, a glow of lights spilling into the hallway, and curiosity got the better of me. I shouldn't have looked, but I peeked, and what I saw made my jaw drop. My roommate was on a video call in an impeccably organized home office that I had never seen, talking to people I didn't recognize, wearing a perfectly professional outfit, not at all like the sweatpants and hoodie persona they presented in our apartment, and suddenly it hit me. They had an entirely separate life, a polished, ambitious existence that I had been completely unaware of, and the more I watched, the more I noticed little details. Awards displayed on the desk, schedules pinned on a board, multiple laptops and notebooks filled with notes, and I realized that every time they told me they were just busy or running errands, they had actually been building this hidden career and lifestyle. Right under my nose, I felt a strange mix of awe and betrayal, because we shared bills, groceries, and even weekend plans, but they had carved out a parallel existence that excluded me entirely, and I started paying attention to patterns I had ignored. Phone calls taken in private rooms, texts deleted instantly, sudden absences that now made sense, and the realization hit me that I had been living with someone who was essentially living two lives, and none of it involved me. The next day, I confronted them calmly, asking why they hadn't told me, and their reaction was equal parts panic and indignation, as if I had crossed a boundary by noticing what they thought was invisible, and they said, I needed space. This is my career, my privacy. It's not about you. But I couldn't shake the feeling of being blindsided, of sharing a life with someone who had kept me out of everything significant, and I started questioning every interaction we'd had, every casual conversation, every moment of trust, because it all felt like a performance now, and I struggled to reconcile the person I knew in our apartment with the ambitious, precise, and secretive individual I had glimpsed for a few minutes. Weeks went by, and I noticed changes in how I felt at home. Frustration when doors closed, suspicion when phones buzzed, resentment for all the times I had offered help or companionship while they had quietly advanced a life I couldn't access, and eventually, the tension boiled over one night when they invited me to dinner and tried to act casual, and I finally said, I saw your other life. Why didn't you tell me? And their face fell, a combination of guilt and exasperation, and they admitted that they had feared judgment, that they didn't want me to see them differently, that they had grown up hiding parts of themselves and didn't know how to be fully transparent, and I felt a strange compassion mixed with anger, because honesty might have prevented all the hurt I felt, but the explanation also made sense. They weren't malicious, just guarded and secretive, and in the following days we had long conversations about boundaries, privacy, and trust, and I realized that people can compartmentalize for survival, that someone's hidden life doesn't automatically mean betrayal. But the shock of discovering it without warning had forever changed how I viewed our relationship, and I now approach our interactions with a mixture of respect for their autonomy and careful awareness. Because living with someone is more complex than it seems, and sometimes the people closest to you are the ones you know the least. And while I still feel a twinge of betrayal, I also feel privileged to witness a part of their world that they chose to eventually share, and the experience taught me a lesson I won't forget. You can't assume you know everything about the people around you, and the truths they keep, however hidden, are often tied to fear, ambition, or self-preservation, not malice. And sometimes, the most dramatic revelations come from the people you see every day, right across the hall from you.